Hello! Welcome to the Once in a Blue Moon channel update thingy. I'm Wellens, and I am sure you can tell from the title of this video what this is all about. This channel reached 20,000 subscribers. Wow, that's pretty nuts, because I'm pretty convinced that I don't even know 1,000 people in real life. So, yeah, I'm really not good at this kind of stuff, but thank you for your support. You know, before I realized it, I've been doing this hobby pretty consistently for a while now, maybe 2 years, and it's probably the longest I've ever been committed to any one interest. I'm one of those people that tend to jump around from hobby to hobby, so this is something pretty abnormal for me. Part of that is because I think playing video games is fun. You know, the process of content creation itself is fun. But the other very crucial and critical component of this is that I'm getting the signal and encouragement from you that, hey, you are enjoying what I'm doing too. And now you're telling me that maybe potentially 20,000 of you, 20,000 people, real living people, organisms, human beings, have thought this at one point in their life? Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know I don't say this enough because I make one of these channel update things like less than once a year. It's pretty bad, but hopefully you know that I appreciate you every day, even if I don't say it every day. Honestly, this whole thing has been pretty weird because I've never thought of myself as being a entertainer or anything like that, or even a sociable person, really. So this whole thing has been quite a strange and at times scary turn of events. Anyway, I'm just going to keep playing video games here, so it'll be pretty cool if you stick around and we can talk about video games together and stuff. Yeah! I don't really do celebration videos because I'm pretty lazy, but it's 5 digits long. And the first digit is changing, which I figure is big enough to make a note of. I don't really have anything fancy to celebrate with, but a few of you have asked if I would be open to doing a Q&A. So, I guess that's the least I could do. If you want to ask me a question, please go to the Google Docs form link thing that you see on the screen right now, which is also in the description, and put your question there. If you can, please try not to ask me in like YouTube private messaging or Twitter or Tumblr, because that's a lot of different platforms to keep checking, and if I do that, I'll probably miss something. So if you put everything in the Google Docs form, that would really help me out with sorting too, because I added a question there for the category. So when you put in your question, you can put the question at the top and then tell me if it's a games-related question or a personal question or like, I don't know, some other question that's not covered by these other 2 categories. You would be really helping me out with organization that way. YouTube comments? I guess you could put questions in the comment section for this video, but I would still recommend the Google Forms because of the category question there. I'll try my best to check the comments, but I can't guarantee that I will see it for sure. I'll probably leave the Google Forms open for maybe like a week or so, and then I'll close it and come back with another video with all the answers. Yeah. As for what to ask, you can ask whatever you want, but use common sense and be appropriate. I'll answer pretty much anything unless if I think it's too personal or identifying. Like, one of the biggest reasons that I don't generally like to answer anything too personal is because, especially in text format, I don't really like the idea of information being indexed and searchable. It only takes a second to say something, but once you put it on the internet, you can never take it back. For example, if I say, I like pineapple on pizza, somebody out there is probably already plotting my death. And by the way, that is a real example. I do like pineapple on pizza. Did you know that's a Canadian invention? Okay, getting off topic already. Too long didn't listen? You can ask me anything you want to in the next 7 days as of the upload date of this video. And I'll come back with the answers sometime before Half-Life 3 comes out. Hopefully, anyway. I'm really lazy about stuff like this. So if you've seen the title of this video, you'll have noticed by now that this is not only a thank you video, but also a minor channel update thing. Minor? Yeah, I guess it's pretty minor. It's not that big. But I wanted to update you on what I have in mind for the future of this channel pretty much. The fundamental concept, of course, it won't change. It's just gonna be me playing video games with not a whole lot of editing. But moving forward, I'm going to be doing some experimentation with video format, game choices, and time scheduling. I know, change is scary, but I promise it's not nearly as scary as I'm making it sound right now. I will start at the end and I'll go back and expand on each thing. Okay, number 1. I'm going to be trying to do more first looks of games. One-parters where I'll try the game out for a little bit, but I can't guarantee that I'll continue and finish the game. Number 2. I'm gonna try to play more older games considered classics by everybody that everyone has been asking me about. Number 3. In order for number 1 and 2 to happen, I'm going to try to play around with the frequency at which I'm uploading videos right now. Okay, that's it. See, it's not that scary. Okay, back to number 1. First looks of games. So I guess I'll start with why I want to do this. Basically, whenever I choose to play a game, I have a pretty vague rubric in my head for choosing what to play, which depends on stuff like genre of the game, length of the game, contrast with whatever I'm playing alongside that game. But at the heart of it, I've always taken release date pretty heavily into consideration. Simple, because new games are only new once, and after that, they'll never be new again. New games are what everyone's talking about and searching for, and covering new games is a reliable way for new people to discover your channel. I think that's pretty easy to understand. But the problem with new games is that sometimes I don't know if it's good or not. I always try to check reviews before I play something, but they're not always available, especially when a game is brand spanking new. And I have a rule I set for myself that if I start a part 1 for a game, I always want to make it to the end of the game because I want the words part 1 to be a guarantee for you that I'll see it through. Because I watch videos too. I'm a video watcher. I'm a viewer. And I know what it's like to be disappointed that something you were following is discontinued. So I really don't like leaving games unfinished. I feel like I do a pretty decent job at that. In recent times, I think the only exception I've made to this is Mass Effect Andromeda, which I played 3 parts of. And in hindsight, I don't think I should have played more than 1 part, because that just gets people's hopes up and everything, which I kind of regret. So the solution I've come up with dealing with this whole issue is that I'll start playing more first looks instead. It's a labeling thing pretty much. And you actually might have already unofficially noticed that I started doing that since last year with Final Fantasy 15. And I did that for a little bit, but I haven't done one of those for a while now. That's where the reasoning comes from though. I'm basically playing the game exactly as I would a part 1, but calling it a first look is a way for me to let you know that, hey, I don't know if I can commit to finishing this game, but I would like to try it out and show it to you anyway. I feel like this is a pretty good idea. I don't know, maybe on paper anyway. It gives me some breathing room and I don't have to pressure myself constantly so hard to finish things, even if I may not be feeling it as much. And I feel like this is a pretty good way for me to be able to check out more games in a year too, or like any arbitrary time frame. It's just that like sometimes I commit to playing really long games and I don't have time to check out other games because of that. I don't really see it being a really regular thing right now. It's not like, okay, well, every Monday I'm gonna have a first look. No, it's just gonna be whenever I find something interesting that I don't know if I can commit to playing the full thing of. And maybe that's just gonna be because I'm already playing too much right now. Yeah. Okay, back to number 2. I am going to be actively trying to play more older, classic/obscure games. I know, this is pretty contradictory to what I just said about the new games, but it's because I feel like that's not the best way to go about it. That's why I want to change it. Because I tend to focus on new games, that limits the amount of older games that I can get around to, because, you know, we all have limited time. And there's so many games that I would love to get around to, but I haven't been able to find the time for it, which is really stupid, because classic games are classic because a lot of people have already played it, and there's a guarantee, there's basically a free guarantee that it'll be a good game. I hear you. Every time somebody recommends the Witcher series, Soma, I don't know, the original Deus Ex, System Shock, the Dreamfall series, I hear you. But I haven't been acting on that hearing of you at all, so I need to make some effort to actually put something into action here. Especially because I'm somebody who didn't really... I got into the whole gaming thing pretty late. I missed out on a lot of good games just because I haven't been gaming for that long. I think I've only been gaming for maybe 5 years. Yeah. When Valve gave away Portal the first time, that was when I first got a Steam account. That's like 7 years ago? It's not that long ago. So I've been really wanting to open up a slot to fit these titles in, because I need to eventually get around to all these great games. Not exactly sure how I'm going to make it work yet, but I have to find some type of balance that'll leave me free to react to new releases too. What I mean by that is, I would hate to only be playing old games and then miss out on amazing new releases. Like for example, this year we had Horizon Zero Dawn, Prey. So it's a bit of a delicate balance, and it might mean that I'll be playing these older games at a slower pace, but I think that's still way better than not playing them at all and just being like, yeah, okay, I hear you, you guys recommending me Soma and The Witcher, like, I hear you, but not doing anything about it. Oh, by the way, my definition for old games right now, older classic games right now, is basically anything, I would say maybe more than 5 years old even, but I know a lot of the things I listed just now are not over 5 years old. Like Soma what, came out in 2014? Not that old, but games that are not like 1 week old on YouTube are basically ancient. It's a pretty cutthroat, business-like, and competitive way to think about it, but that really is the case, especially if you want your channel to grow, which I do, but not necessarily at the cost of my soul. So alongside these older classic titles, I also want to cover some not as well-known games too. For example, last year I played a game called Consortium, which I think is so overlooked because, I don't know, maybe the graphics are not the most appealing and maybe they didn't do their marketing that well. But a lot of people don't seem to know about it, and I didn't know about it until they gave it away for free. And I think it's one of, like, oh my god, it's so good, but like you people are just not paying attention to it. Like, my sphere of influence is pretty small, but if I can play some weird game and get even just one person to find something, to discover this game that they didn't know about, but they enjoy, I think that is one of the most rewarding things that can come from me doing this. Right, so I'm going to be trying to actively make time to play older / classic / obscure games. And then to point number 3, in order for point number 1, more first looks, and number 2, more classic / weird games to happen, I'm going to try to play around with the frequency at which I'm releasing videos. So some of you might be able to tell that I'm already doing a little bit of this. I used to try to do 2 games every single day, but like, to be honest, it was just so tough. So lately I've been experimenting a little bit with changing the scheduling up. Like right now when I play Nier, I'm releasing videos 6 out of 7 days in a week. And for Virtue's Last Reward, which I just finished playing, I was playing that for 4 days a week with longer parts. It might not seem like it helps much, 6 out of 7 days, 7 out of 7 days, but that one day that I take off really helps me out. And in some instances, even if it's the same total game time, like for example, 1 hour video versus 2 30-minute videos, the 1 hour video helps me cut down on work too, because less thumbnails, less tags, less descriptions, less admin stuff. And I think it probably depends on what type of game too. Like for something a bit slower paced, like a visual novel, I think longer parts, less days, totally makes sense. And if you ever wonder to yourself, hey, I'm expecting a video to be uploaded or released right now, why isn't it here? I would recommend that you check my Twitter because I always put schedule related things on there. I don't really have anything hammered out yet, but in the near future, you might notice that things are not as regularly scheduled as I usually like to have it, is what I wanted to tell you. And while we're here, why don't I ask you guys what you prefer too? Longer videos, less frequently, or shorter videos but more frequently? So when I say longer videos, I mean more than 30 minutes. And like I said, definitely think it depends on what kind of game too, but if you have a preference for either one, feel free to let me know in the little poll box that should have popped up right now. I feel like there's a lot of different components to take into consideration when thinking about this. Do I want to upload frequently enough so that people can follow the parts but not be overwhelmed by the amount of videos, or, stuff like that? And, I don't actually have to ask you this question because I can see analytics on my end. I can see all the numbers. I can see how long people are watching each video, all that good stuff. But I figured if you've been listening to me talk for 16 minutes, 17 minutes, Maybe your opinion is the one that I want to take into consideration more, as opposed to those random numbers that I see in the analytics. Yeah, so again, right now, I'm just brainstorming out loud pretty much. I feel like it's likely that for the classic older games, I'll do longer parts but not necessarily every day because that's a lot easier for me to schedule. But we'll see. I tend to change my mind about everything all the time, so don't take what I say as the absolute truth ever. Alright, so that's pretty much all I got for today. In a nutshell, in the coming months, you may notice more older games, obscure games, first looks, and the scheduling of videos might be a little bit all over the place. Not within one series though. Like I don't mean if I say, I'm gonna upload on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then I'm gonna start uploading on Tuesday and Thursdays or whatever, but across different series, they might all have different times even though you would think that one series finishing would mean that another game coming into that time slot would be taking the exact same schedule as the previous game. That's what I mean. But August is pretty busy for game releases, so I expect that if any of what I say actually starts happening, at the very earliest, it'll be in September. And like I say happenings and changes, but I honestly don't think it'll even be that noticeable. Like, it's just me playing video games, it's not that crazy. But yeah, that's all I have for you today, and hopefully I haven't kept you here for too long. I really tried to cut up the crap, because I know I can be really wordy and getting off topic and stuff like right now, so I'm gonna stop rambling and shut up now. Thank you again for sticking around, and I hope you stick around some more so that we can enjoy and talk about some video games together. That would be pretty neat. I would not expect this type of channel update thing to be a regular thing, so probably the next time I see you, aside from the answers to the Q&A, it might be... it might really be a year from now, so I'll see you the next time the blue moon occurs. Bye!